Hello viewers, welcome to Newsweek South Asia, a show where we'll provide you fresh insights into South Asia's geopolitical, strategic and security situation. Let's take a look at the headlines first. One policeman killed in terrorist attack in Jammu and Kashmir's Anantnag. TTP's deadly strike exposes Pakistan's worsening security crisis. And POJK unrest deepens amid poll violence, global protests. Terror has once again struck Jammu and Kashmir. A J&K police head constable deployed on Amarnath Yatra security duty was killed in a targeted terrorist attack in South Kashmir's Anantnag district. The Resistance Front, a proxy of the Pakistan-based Lashkar-e-Taiba, has claimed responsibility for the attack. While Indian security forces have responded with a massive counter-terror crackdown across the valley, the incident underscores Pakistan-backed terror groups' continued attempts to destabilize the region. A report.
A busy marketplace in Jammu and Kashmir's Anantnag district turned into the latest target of Pakistan-backed terrorism. Around 12:30 in the afternoon, terrorists opened fire near Lal Chowk, fatally injuring head constable Ashiq Hussain Qureshi, who was deployed as part of the security grid for the ongoing Amarnath Yatra. Despite being rushed to Government Medical College Hospital in Anantnag, he succumbed to his injuries. The Resistance Front, or TRF, believed to be a proxy of Pakistan-based Lashkar-e-Taiba, claimed responsibility for the attack through a social media post. The strike marks the first targeted attack on Jammu and Kashmir Police personnel this year and comes despite heightened security arrangements around the annual pilgrimage. Within hours, the Indian Army, Jammu and Kashmir Police and Central Armed Police Forces launched a coordinated search and counter-terror operation across South Kashmir. Security forces established multiple checkpoints, intensified frisking operations and launched intelligence-based raids in Anantnag, Pulwama, Shopian and Kulgam. The response soon expanded across the valley, with authorities detaining more than 2,500 suspected overground workers or OGWs believed to be linked with terrorist support networks. Officials say the crackdown is aimed not merely at terrorists carrying weapons, but at dismantling the wider ecosystem that provides logistics, shelter, finances and intelligence to Pakistan-backed terror outfits.
After the abrogation of Article 370 post-2019, they are totally frustrated. They firstly shifted their areas, geographical areas. They got cornered there also. Finally, they started trying new strategies. Now the Amarnath Yatra is on. So they had to show their presence somewhere.
Security agencies say the latest attack reflects a changing pattern of terrorism in Jammu and Kashmir. Official data shows that local terrorist recruitment has fallen dramatically, reaching single digits in both 2023 and 2024. By early 2025, only one local recruitment had been recorded, the lowest level in over a decade. Between 2019 and 2024, nearly 1,050 terrorists were eliminated in around 700 terrorism-related incidents, significantly weakening the local terror infrastructure. However, despite shrinking local recruitment, Pakistan-backed organizations continue attempting to sustain violence by infiltrating trained terrorists across the line of control and operating through proxy outfits such as TRF, which security agencies have repeatedly linked to Lashkar-e-Taiba. The crackdown did not stop at arrests. In overnight operations, security forces demolished houses belonging to families of two wanted Lashkar-e-Taiba terrorists, including Adil Ahmed Thokar, as investigations into terror infrastructure intensified. Officials describe the operation as part of a broader strategy to dismantle networks that enable Pakistan-backed terrorist groups to operate inside Jammu and Kashmir. For New Delhi, the objective extends beyond neutralizing individual terrorists. It is to systematically weaken the support structures that sustain cross-border terrorism.
The post 2019, because Article 370 was gone, the entire unified headquarters, which was there earlier, but it was not allowed to function because it should be chaired by the local political party chiefs. Now it is Ministry of Home. And everybody is accountable. Everybody sits together, all kinds of agencies, intelligence agencies, police forces, army forces, or what have you. They all sit together, they plan together, they share their intelligence together, and that is how they are successful.
While isolated attacks continue to remind the region of the persistent threat of cross-border terrorism, India's security agencies maintain that the overall trajectory of terrorism has changed significantly. With local recruitment at historic lows, infiltration routes under constant surveillance, and sustained operations against overground worker networks, authorities say the focus remains on preventing Pakistan-backed terrorist organizations from regaining operational space. The challenge now lies not only in eliminating terrorists on the ground, but in dismantling the cross-border infrastructure that continues to fuel violence in Jammu and Kashmir.
Pakistan's deepening security crisis has once again been exposed. A devastating suicide attack by the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, or TTP, has left 15 security personnel dead in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa Tank district. The attack is the latest in a series of increasingly sophisticated assaults targeting Pakistan's security establishment, raising fresh questions over Islamabad's counter-terrorism strategy, the growing influence of the TTP, and the deteriorating security environment along the Afghanistan border. Our report.
Powerful suicide attack has dealt another major blow to Pakistan's security apparatus. An explosives-laden vehicle rammed into a joint military police checkpoint in Tank district of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, killing 15 personnel, including 12 soldiers, 2 police officers, and 1 government official. According to Pakistan's military, heavily armed terrorists first attempted to storm the checkpost. After facing resistance, they detonated a vehicle-borne improvised explosive device against the outer perimeter, causing extensive destruction. Security forces later claimed to have killed 12 terrorists during the ensuing gun battle. The Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, or TTP, quickly claimed responsibility, saying 4 suicide bombers took part in the assault.
This attack is actually identical to the attacks that the Afghanistan Taliban would carry out against the American forces from the years 2001 to 2021. There is absolutely no difference. What has happened? They commandeered a vehicle, filled it with explosives, and then 4 suicide bombers just drove it to the checkpost and they exploded themselves. What is new? The only thing that is new is that instead of taking place in Afghanistan, where the US forces are no longer there, it's taken place inside Pakistan against Pakistani forces.
The attack is not an isolated incident. Khyber Pakhtunkhwa has emerged as Pakistan's most volatile province, witnessing a steady rise in attacks on military convoys, police stations, and border installations over the past several years. Districts including Tank, Bannu, North Waziristan, Lucky Marwat, and Bajaur have repeatedly come under attack from insurgent groups operating in the region. Recent weeks have also seen attacks on police convoys and security installations, underscoring the persistent operational capability of terrorist groups in the province. At the center of Pakistan's security dilemma is the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan. Formed in 2007, the TTP seeks to overthrow the Pakistani state and impose its interpretation of Islamic rule. Although organizationally distinct from Afghanistan's Taliban, the two groups share ideological roots and historical links. Since the collapse of the TTP ceasefire with Islamabad in late 2022, the group has steadily expanded the scale and frequency of attacks. Pakistan maintains that TTP fighters operate from sanctuaries inside Afghanistan, while Kabul repeatedly rejects those allegations, insisting that Pakistan's security challenges are an internal matter. The dispute has fueled repeated diplomatic tensions and even cross-border military strikes between the two neighbors. Critics argue that Pakistan's long-standing policy of distinguishing between good and bad militant groups has created enduring security challenges. They say decades of relying on terrorist proxies have weakened internal counter-terrorism efforts, allowing terrorist organizations to regroup and repeatedly target the Pakistani state itself.
As Hillary Clinton once told the Pakistanis that you cannot feed milk to snakes in your backyard and then expect that they will not bite you. This is exactly what is happening. Now, at the base of it is the kind of fundamentalism that Pakistan has been pushing among its citizens, especially after the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. And we can trace this back to 77 when General Zia took over, toppled Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, and certainly from 1979. This is the kind of poison that the Pakistanis have been feeding into their population, more so in a place like Khyber Pakhtunkhwa.
For Pakistan, the attack in Tank is more than another casualty figure. It reflects an insurgency that has adapted, regrouped, and continues to challenge state authority in some of the country's most sensitive border regions. As violence spreads across Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and attacks become increasingly coordinated, the latest strike reinforces concerns that Pakistan's internal security crisis remains far from under control and that the battle against militancy is entering yet another dangerous phase.
Moving on. Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir is witnessing one of its most serious political crises in recent years. What began as protests over governance and electoral reforms has now escalated into deadly violence, allegations of election fraud, mass arrests, and an international campaign against Islamabad's crackdown. With reports of over 40 deaths, internet restrictions, and growing demonstrations by the Kashmiri diaspora abroad, questions are being raised over Pakistan's claims of democratic governance in the territory it calls Azad Jammu and Kashmir. Here's a report.
Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir continues to witness escalating unrest as violence surrounding the region's assembly elections leaves the territory on edge. The three-phase elections being conducted until August 10 have been overshadowed by allegations of large-scale rigging, political interference, and a sweeping security crackdown. Reports from local protest groups claim that more than 40 people have been killed since the unrest began, while dozens have sustained injuries during clashes between demonstrators and Pakistani security forces. The latest demonstrations erupted after Pakistan's ruling Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz secured 9 out of 13 seats contested in the second phase of polling across Mirpur, Kotli and Bimbar. Opposition groups and civil society activists rejected the exercise as neither free nor fair. The violence follows weeks of protests led by the Joint Awami Action Committee or JAAC, which was banned by the regional administration in June. Protesters accuse Islamabad of suppressing political voices instead of addressing long-standing demands for electoral reforms, better governance and greater accountability.
हमारा एहतजाज का मकसद ये है कि जो 2 माह से रावलाकोट के अंदर और पूरे कश्मीर के अंदर जो मुसलमानों के ऊपर जुल्म हो रहा है उसके बंद करवाने के लिए यहाँ पर हम आए हैं। यहाँ पर तलबा क़यादत ने सालसी का किरदार अदा करने के लिए हुकूमत से कहा है और हम यहाँ पर यह भी एहतजाज करते हैं कि वफाकी वज़रा का जो लहजे हैं इनकी ज़ुबान से मामलात ख़राब हो रहे हैं। हम ये चाहते हैं कि पुरअमन तौर पर कश्मीरियों के साथ बैठकर इस मसले को हल किया जाए।
The unrest has now spread well beyond Rawalakot and Muzaffarabad. Students carrying Kashmiri flags staged demonstrations in Islamabad demanding justice for those killed during the crackdown. Protesters accused Pakistan authorities of using excessive force against civilians and condemned what they described as months of repression inside Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Meanwhile, residents continue to challenge Islamabad's narrative surrounding the elections.
हम ये समझते हैं कि ये इलेक्शन नहीं है, ये टोटली फ्रॉड है। इलेक्शन ये होना चाहिए था कि अवाम को जो है अपनी रायदेही जो है उनको खुल के जो है उसका इस्तेमाल करने का मौका मिलना चाहिए था। जो इस वक्त एक मौजूदा जो सूरत हाल है जिसमें एक अवामी तहरीक उभर के अवामी नुमाइंदगी के तौर पर सामने आई है, उनको मौका मिलना चाहिए था और वो इलेक्शन में इस्लाह चाहते थे, लेकिन एक गलत बयानिया जो है वो बनाया गया और उसमें ये कहा गया कि ये रा फंडेड है या हिंदुस्तान इनकी मदद कर रहा है। अगर किसी भी अदारे के पास, पाकिस्तानी एस्टैब्लिशमेंट के पास कोई सबूत है तो हुकूमत पाकिस्तान जो है वो अपनी मर्जी के जजों पर मुश्तमिल एक गैर जानबदार जो है जुडिशल कमीशन बनाए जो तहकीकात करें।
The crackdown has also triggered international attention. Kashmiri diaspora have appealed for demonstrations outside Pakistani embassies, consulates and United Nations offices across the world. Over recent weeks, protests linked to POJK have been reported in several countries, including the United Kingdom and the parts of Europe, where members of the Kashmiri diaspora have demanded an independent investigation into the killings and called for international attention to alleged human rights violations. Unlike Islamabad's long-standing narrative on Kashmir, many protesters are demanding accountability from Pakistan itself, raising concerns over political representation, administrative control and economic neglect.
मज़ालिम के खिलाफ रियासत इस वक्त बुखलाहट का शिकार हो चुकी है, वो हमारी नस्ल कशी पर जो है वो उतरी हुई है। तो आप जो है वो पाकिस्तानी सफारतखानों समेत दुनिया भर के इंसानी हकूक़ की जो तंजीमें हैं, UNO है, उसके जो है वो सामने जो है वो आप सरापा एहतजाज हों, आप शुरकाए लॉन्ग मार्च के साथ इज़हार यकजहती के लिए रैलियां करें।
The developments have also renewed scrutiny of Pakistan's description of the territory as Azad Jammu and Kashmir. Rights groups and local activists allege internet shutdowns, restrictions on movement, mass arrests and the deployment of security forces against demonstrators. Protest leaders have reportedly been detained, while authorities continue to accuse sections of the movement of acting at the behest of foreign interests, an allegation repeatedly rejected by protesters. With the final phases of polling still pending, tensions remain high across Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. For many residents, the immediate demand is no longer simply about elections, but about political accountability, representation and an end to the violence. As fresh protests continue both inside POJK and overseas, the unfolding crisis presents one of the biggest challenges yet to Pakistan's governance claims in the territory, while once again bringing international focus to the growing disconnect between Islamabad's rhetoric and the realities reported on the ground.
The political crisis in POJK has now moved beyond election-related violence, raising broader questions about governance, civil liberties and public representation. As protests continue and allegations of repression mount, concerns are growing over Islamabad's handling of the situation. To discuss this and understand what is driving the unrest, we have with us POJK political activist Amjad Mirza. Hello sir, welcome to Newsweek South Asia. My first question to you is, reports suggest that more than 40 people have been killed during the ongoing unrest linked to the POJK elections. What is the ground situation today and how serious is the crisis?
The crisis is pretty serious because there seems to be no solution to this gridlock that is now in front of us. The people are refusing to budge down, and the Pakistani government and the POJK, whatever government is there, they are also unwilling to come to a compromise with the protesters. So the Joint Awami Action Committee dharnas are as they were before. They continue, and the government of Pakistan and the so-called government of Pakistani occupied Jammu Kashmir are unwilling to come to some kind of compromise. 40 people have been reportedly killed, but the death toll is much higher actually. Just yesterday, a young PhD scholar from Quaid-e-Azam University was shot dead in POJK, who was part of this movement.
The recent assembly elections have been marred by allegations of rigging and political interference. Why are so many people rejecting the electoral process?
Well, there are two reasons for rejecting the electoral process. The first is that traditionally, election process in Pakistan itself has always been rigged and always been predetermined that who's going to come to power. And therefore, the elections in Pakistani occupied Jammu Kashmir are also seen in the same light. The second is because of this movement that is ongoing. People have called for a boycott because they say that until and unless our demands are met, until and unless these 12 seats of so-called refugees who don't live in POJK, they live in Pakistan, unless these are abolished, we will not, compromise. And the boycott has been quite widespread. Turnout has been maximum in some places has been 20%. So by no means this election is credible. And also the footages have now surfaced where you can see that the presiding officers and people inside the polling station are stamping the paper, the vote paper, by themselves. So we did not see any footage from the government side either, where we could see evidence that large queues, big queues outside the polling station waiting for their turn to poll their vote. So these are the two reasons that the POJK elections have no credibility at all.
Protesters allege excessive use of force, mass arrests, internet shutdowns, and restrictions on movement. Do you believe Islamabad is trying to suppress political dissent rather than address public grievances?
Pakistan has never addressed public grievances when it comes to Pakistani occupied Jammu Kashmir or Pakistani occupied Gilgit Baltistan. They have always, addressed Pakistan, the grievances of these people who live in POJK and Gilgit Baltistan by the use of excessive force. See what they did in Gilgit Baltistan. They locked up the whole leadership of Joint Awami Action Committee in Gilgit Baltistan, and then they held the elections in Gilgit Baltistan. And after the election, they released them. Jao un kar lo jo karna hai. You know, that kind of attitude. Same is the case with Pakistani occupied Jammu Kashmir. This is not the first time that our youth has faced bullets and have been massacred. Every time they come out, the last time they were, last year they killed 13 youth in Muzaffarabad, and then again, and now they have killed more than 60.
Pakistan calls the region Azad Jammu and Kashmir. In your view, how much political and administrative autonomy does POJK actually enjoy?
Pakistani occupied Jammu Kashmir is an autonomous region only in name. There is no real autonomy. I'll give you an example. The Legislative Assembly of Pakistani occupied Jammu and Kashmir cannot sign a bill. They cannot pass a law. Similarly, the Prime Minister cannot even, recruit a chaprasi. He doesn't have the power to do that. The President of POJK has absolutely no power. It is a ceremonial post. Who has the power? The power lies with those officers which we call rent officers, RENT, who are rented out to POJK. Who are they? The IG police is from Punjab. The accountant general, who has to deal with all our finances, is non-Kashmiri. He's appointed by Pakistan. Similarly, all other senior posts, chief secretary, who is the viceroy of POJK, is also what they call it, appointed by Pakistan. So all these important positions that administratively have to take control of this region are all appointed by Pakistan, and they have to be non-Kashmiris. This is the situation, and in this situation, it is very difficult to say that POJK is an autonomy, has got any kind of autonomy. There is no autonomy at all.
Beyond the elections, what are the deeper issues driving public anger? Is this primarily about governance, economic neglect, political representation, or something larger?
Well, I think it is about all the things that you have mentioned, but also it is about more like about the feeling of helplessness, the feeling that the people of POJK have no power, have no, administrative power to do anything. I'll give you an example. After 33 years of lapse, local bodies elections were held in 2023, right? What did the Pakistan government do? They removed the prime minister for daring to hold local bodies elections. They removed him and brought in an in-house change and brought in another prime minister. So there is corruption involved over there. So people were very happy that local body election have been conducted. So on a local level, infrastructure will be, addressed, infrastructure issues will be addressed and all that. Never happened. So people have tried everything before they have now got so fed up. They are not even afraid to face bullets.
Thank you so much for your time, sir.
Thank you for having me.
And with that, we come to the end of this edition of Newsweek South Asia. We'll be back next week with more news, views, and analysis from the subcontinent. Meanwhile, do keep writing to us at nwsa@nin.com. This is Shivangi Mishra signing off on behalf of the entire team of Newsweek South Asia. Goodbye and take care.